model that will be stable, a model that will stand even if you leave it alone. So it shouldn't be a model that looks very beautiful, but it falls the moment you leave it. If you're making a trophy for someone or you're making a memento for someone, then obviously you're going to keep in consideration the client that you're making that particular product for, as well as you're going to have one additional theme over there which you think is relevant to that particular field. So having an additional themes shows them that you have a creative mind, that you are able to design new things. The kind of questions that they will give you to test this ability of yours would be number one, space design. Number two would be product design. And number three, they can give you a theme or concept driven design. So when you're given a space design, basically you're supposed to make different areas within that particular platform. So imagine they've given you something like design a room of a cobbler. So when you're thinking of a workroom of a cobbler, what are the important parts that you'll need? One workstation is one area that you will consider. Other than that, you will think of where he'll keep his tools, his supplies, and one more area where he'll probably keep his raw material, all the leather patches, all of those extra materials like the threads and everything he uses. So apart from that, the second kind of question that can be there is a product design. So they can ask you to make a flower vase for any kind of client. So it could be a housewife, it could also be a five-star hotel. So when you think about these two clients, the kind of preferences they'll have will be very different. So as a designer, you're not just making things that look beautiful, but you're making things that look beautiful plus are useful to the person you're making them for. So you should be very, very wary of who you're making that particular product for when you're approaching anything, be it even a bottle cover. So when you're making something with a concept or you're taking an inspiration or theme, it comes out way better because the colors that you'll be using will be relevant. The material usage you've shown would be relevant. So for example, if you're going for a theme which is sustainable, then using something like burlap, if that is provided in the paper, or using something like brown paper, recycled paper, or other elements which indicate that kind of a feeling, which gives you more rustic, more natural vibe to it, would be relevant. Then coming to the kind of materials that they'll be providing you, you'll be provided with an array of material. Not necessarily all the material is given to you for one question. The material can be given for two questions. So do remember, if they've given you a set of material, they are thinking of two questions that can be solved using that material and not just one question. So you're not required to use all of the material in your product. You can choose which material goes into your product and which one you can leave out. Then one more thing during this would be that you'll have things like straws, you'll have paper cups, or you'll have plastic balls. Then you'll have things like a piece of thread, needle also they provide you at times, like so you can stitch parts together. Aluminum foil is another material that you might be provided with, a little bit of rope. Other than that, you're looking at different kinds of papers. So when you're talking about papers, they can give you the simple paper that you need for printout, so a lower GSM, and the higher GSM papers like ivory sheets. So ivory sheets are good for making more base-like products. So when you're thinking of making a base for a product, taking a thicker sheet is better because then it will give you the stability you're looking for. Same way, when you're looking at wire, the wire that will be provided to you won't be too much. So don't think of making complicated products with wire. Don't practice too much wire folding and wire molding into big products, because if they're not even going to give you that much material, then that practice is not of much use. Try to make use of lesser material when you're making your products also for practice, because in the exam, they'll give you only limited amount of that material. So you should be thinking about how to utilize that in your initial models that you're going to do to practice. So the right approach to practice for this exam is, first, if you have 3 weeks remaining for the exam, then first week you should do material exploration with as many materials as possible. Take out all the papers, take out the wires, threads, all of that, and try to see what are the different things that you can experiment with. How can you make shapes using these materials? Either first try to make solely with that material only, then try to use combination of these products to make these. You can make simple sketches of household products and try to think how you will be able to make that in 3D using these materials. Using the techniques that we'll be teaching you, you should be able to make newer products much more easily, but using some common sense also, sometimes you can do 3D work. Now, apart from, just give me a minute. So finally, when you're making your products, they should be relevant according to the theme that you use, techniques that you use, and basically the material that is provided to you should be optimally utilized during this process. After being able to make a 3D product, that's not the end of it. In the 2 hours that are given to you to solve this paper, you are also required to write a write-up. A lot of us are not able to write about the things we make. We can make beautiful things, but when it comes to writing about the theme or writing about that particular product, how we will even use the material in it, gets a little difficult. So it's also something that can be corrected with practice. Sanjana, I think if you're for BF Tech, situation test is not for you. I think another induction session would be taken for you. Continuing the same line, so we just talked about the different kind of materials that can be provided to you, as well as the kind of questions that you'll be having. You'll have two options of the question given to you, and usually they don't give the same kind of question when it comes to the options. So one would be like, for example, an accessory design question or product design question, and the second question can be for a working model or a tool that you have to make for a particular person. So let's start with today's session. All you require in today's session, because we're going to do very, very basic things like making a paper cube. So all you need is sheets of paper, plain sheets of paper or colored sheets of paper, doesn't matter. A4 size works well. Other than that, you need a cutter, paper cutter, scissors. You don't need both of them. You can have one of them, that's enough. One pencil and one scale. If you're using a cutter, do use a cutting mat. Otherwise, your table will have cut marks. So the very first exercise that we're going to approach is going to help us understand how we can make different shapes using nothing but a simple sheet of paper. So when you think of situation test preparation, all of the different things that you're supposed to do during this is, so eventually you're going to make different kinds of products, be it paper. So today what we're going to explore is templates for cubes, cuboids, and all other basic shapes. So we'll start with a very simple shape, which is a cube, and then we'll discuss another simple shape which is related to triangles. So tetrahedron we'll also discuss how to make a prism and how can you make a pyramid and how is a tetrahedron, pyramid and a prism template different. So if you're able to understand those three templates, then you can make it with any kind of face, be it a pentagonal or hexagonal or any other shape that you can imagine. So first thing that you need to understand in order to make any basic shape, guys, please turn on your videos. Collect your material and turn on your videos. I want you to show me at every step that you're doing. So first thing that I want you to think is just a little bit of logic required for this exercise. Think about this. So this is the cube that is given to us. On a cube, what is the difference in a cube and a square? In a square, you're looking at a flat object, so you look at only x and y axis. But when I'm looking at a cube, I'm looking at x, y, and z. Now there are three angles possible. Now there are three angles going x, y, and z. So now you're looking at this particular plane and three angles happen. So height is an additional thing. And now you're looking at face number 1, face number 2, face number 3, face number 4, face number 5, and face number 6. So in total, 6 square faces are there. So when you start making a template for a cube, you start with the base. So we're going to take this base, which is just one flat square. So I'm going to do nothing but make one square over here. You can choose your dimension, 5 centimeter, 3 centimeter, whatever it can be, doesn't matter. One cube of the size that you want, you're going to draw. This is how it should come out. Simple. Now, try to think logically. If this is side number 1, then how do I make side number 2, which is attached to this base? And how do I make side number 3, which is attached to this base? So this is my side number 2 and this is my side number 3 now. To be able to make my side number 2 and 3, I should know that this is going to be attached to this side and this is going to be attached to this side. So I'm just going to simply attach number 2 and number 3 onto the side of this square. So simply make 2 more squares on these sides. So one here and one more. This is how it should be. Now, coming back to our sketch. Now we have wall number 4 and 5 to take care of. So 5 is the one in the back and 4 is the one in the front. So how do we make these two walls? Same idea. If you look over here, 1 is getting attached to 4 and 5 at these levels. So this is where 4 is attached and this is where 5 is attached. So I'm going to make 2 more squares, one on this side, one on this side. I'll be able to cover 5 sides of the cube with that.
Mom, you're on mute, Mom.
So sorry. Yeah. So when you think about this, now the only side remaining is the top side. And how are you going to attach this top side now? Because it's not attached to 1. It's attached to number 5 and number 4, number 2 and number 3. So you can choose to attach it to any of these walls. Doesn't matter which one. It's your choice. You can make it here, you can make it here, you can make it here, or you can make it here. Because I don't have much space here or on the other sides, I'm going to make it here. One more wall and we are done with the cube. So in total, 6 faces of the cube we made, and this is the template. So last one will come here. This is what you should be able to see now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 6 in total you should be having. Right now, don't worry about the flaps. I've made 2 flaps. Don't worry about those. Just look at the number of cubes. Sorry, number of squares in this cube template. So this is my cube template. If you want to make a cube, this is how you make a cube template. Now, one thing that you need to understand about this cube template is if I make it without flaps, then I'll need to add tape on the outside of it to connect it. But if I don't and I make flaps, then I can make a much more perfect shape with the flaps inside it. So let me just show you how. So right now, if you cut out the template that you've made, this is how your cube will look. You can see it on my screen. And you'll have to use tape. So to avoid that, we try and put flaps in our product. So this is one way of putting the flaps. Another way is this. The only difference is that the flap from the top on this goes to the flap on the bottom here. Let me tell you how do you put flaps. Look at my screen when you're looking at this particular cube. Then you must notice that in this cube, if this is my base, then when I'm starting to make my cube into a 3D form, then when I cut out the template, this was my base again, right? The one which is, so I'll close this onto this side. So this side will be pasted with this. Then next side should be pasted with this side. This side should be pasted with this side, and this side should be pasted with this side. This particular square should come on top of everything. It should come on top of this. So I'll require flaps on all of these areas, whichever I want to attach. So I'll have a flap here, I'll have a flap here, I'll have a flap here, as well as I'll have a flap here. So every area I want to attach same way because I will be attaching this area to this side of the cube. This is why I'm putting a flap here. The last flap or the seventh flap of this cube could be here or it could be on the start. When you're done with your template, please show it before proceeding with the cutting part of it. When you're done making the flaps, this is how your cube should look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. In total, 7 flaps. If you're done with it, please show it so that we can go ahead and try cutting it. Guys, I can't see any of yours works because all of your videos are turned off. Yes, Akshara. Yeah, Aksharna, I can see yours. That's correct. Rajanandini, yeah, that's correct. We can go ahead and cut these. Let's go, guys. If you have any doubt or any difficulty till this point, please ask. Should have a shape like this. At this step, what you need to do is your folds will be getting all curved if you try to fold any of this part. So take your cutter or your scissor, use the blunt side, not the sharp side. Remember when I say, so one side is the sharp side with which you cut the things, one side is the blunt side with which you can just make mark on objects. So what you're going to do is for each and every line that you have over here, even the flap lines, even these lines, just go over it with that sharp object to reinstate those things. So if you do that, then instead of this kind of curve, you'll be able to get this kind of a crease. So to crease, this is what you can do without damaging the paper. Mukesh, please request the participants to turn on their videos once again. It's okay. It doesn't matter whatever you're doing. You're just working on this project, and that's what we need to see. Please turn on your videos, guys. Please don't be shy.
Please switch on your video now. If you're working, just
Yeah, they're not here too. It's okay. It doesn't matter whatever you're doing. You're just working on this project, and that's what we need to see. Please turn on your videos.
just
Yeah, not here too. Okay, it doesn't matter. Now you should be able to easily fold each and every edge of it. It should be coming out more geometrical than earlier after using those lines. Now let's just go ahead and start pasting this form. So usually start with the base. So take the base like this and here onto that. So this is your flap. You'll take the side without the flap. You'll attach the flap under it. And this is how you'll connect. You should be able to cover the flap completely and hold it for a little bit for it to stick. This is how you'll get all of the sides of the cube.
हेलो हाँ सर वो सर को वो चाहिए होगा वो इंट्रोड्यूस करेंगे उसी बेसिस पे इसी नाम का हो दीजिएगा हाँ सर दीजिए
Be mindful of the Fevicol marks that you might be leaving out on the outside of the surface. In NIFT situation test, marks are reduced also for lack of cleanliness and neatness in the work.
राज नंदी आप लोग क्या कर रहे हो क्लास में करीना वारिस good to keep your video on no वारिस चौहान निकिता काव्या
If there is a problem, please communicate it to us, guys.
keep your videos active
If you keep the flap open for the top area and you extend the flap, then you can also make an openable and closable box using this basic shape only. Okay, so just extend this flap and then you can have a box that you can close. But right now, because the flap is small, just put it in and you have a perfect box.
हेलो हाँ सर ये कह रहा था कल वो पार्सल वाला वो कितना ले गया है वो कल कितना ले गया मैं जब वो रिसीव किया तब मैं यहाँ था नहीं सर उसका नंबर आप मुझे सेव कर दूंगा पूछ लीजिए
Sir, it should be looking. All sides closed up. Yeah, Paru. Nice, you made a dice. Akshana, you made a pink one. Pretty. Ranjanandani is also making a red one. I can't say I can't see Isha's. Isha, what color are you making? Plain paper? Ah, plain paper. Cool. Herina? Yeah. Cool. Well done. All right, guys. So with this, you have understood how to do a cubes template. Now, the logic for a cuboids template is very, very similar, but the only difference there is whether the differentiation happens if you have, just give me a second.
वो आया सर किसी को बोला वहां से बैठा था वहां उसको गाड़ी में आया चले गए
Now look at these two cuboids. Number one that you're looking at, it has a similar height and a similar breadth, but the length is different. So it has three dimensions. One is length, one is breadth, and one is height. So when you're looking at these three dimensions, length can be, let's assume for this length is 6 centimeters, and breadth is about 2 centimeters. So height also in this case is 2 centimeters. Now in this new cuboid that I'm looking at, I have height as a different dimension, breadth as a different dimension, and length as a different dimension. So now the length, let's assume, is 6 centimeters, breadth is 2 centimeters, and height is 3 centimeters. So this would be a different template than this. And how will this template vary from this one? Simply, again, using the same idea that we took for the cube, taking the base as this, taking the base as this. This is where the template starts varying. So this side, when you start making this wall number 2 and this wall number 3. So wall number 2, wall number 3 again. But wall number 2 here would be square because the dimension is 2 centimeter by 2 centimeter. Right? So it would be the same. That's why I'm looking at one square face and another square face beside it. Other than this, all other faces will be the same as this one because you have the same kind of length and breadth for all other sides, which is the floor and the top of the building also, and the other simultaneous walls. One in the back and one in the front. Right? Same way looking at this one, because the side is this that we are observing. Now this will be 3 centimeter by 2 centimeter and not 2 centimeter by 3 centimeter. Sorry, 2 centimeter by 2 centimeter. So instead of a square, now this new side is rectangular. That's the main difference between these templates. Continuing on to the same idea, we're going to draw wall number 3, wall number 4 onto the same templates. This is how it will be. Same size cuboid. It should be, so that when we're talking about the same size one, this is going to be the dimension, same 6 centimeter, 2 centimeter on the side, 6 centimeter, 2 centimeter on the side. So if you notice, the only difference that has happened in these is these two walls, and these are going to change the dimension of these two walls also, right? So the base would be different and these walls would be different. And this is how your template would differ because of the change in dimensions. But they will look very similar to the kind of square templates that we've done. So two of them will be similar size, two of them will be similar size, and these two will be similar size. In this one, except these two, all four of them will have same sizes. There you have change in sizes because of this change in 2 centimeter, 3 centimeter. So whichever side is connected to the centimeter 3, then that side has to be bigger, right? Obviously, that side has to have 3 centimeter. That's why this side. So it will be connected over. Like that you see. So cuboid is for homework. Let's go on and do one more shape, which is a little more interesting than this cuboidal shape. This is a tetrahedron. In a tetrahedron, you're looking at 4 sides being triangular and nothing else. It's just triangles on all sides. How to make a template for this? One easy way is, if you want to make a tetrahedron of 5 centimeter side, then take an equilateral triangle of 10 centimeter side and make an equilateral triangle on your sheet. Logical understanding of this figure is basically this. The base is one triangle. On top of it is one face that is facing you and 2 faces that are facing away from you. So you're looking at 4 faces of the triangle coming from the base. So when you're making the base, so logical explanation of the template is this. Make the base first. So if this is my base. If this is my base, then on top of that, imagine there is another triangle which is connected to the base over here, and then one on another side and one on another side. So on all 3 sides of this triangle, I have 3 more triangles connected. So simply connect it to 3 more triangles. So when I extend each side with a triangle, this is what the template starts looking as, right? And now the method that I just told you, that is take a triangle of double the side that you want. One really easy way to make this would be, okay, so I'm taking 20 centimeters. So you made one triangle. Now take midpoints of that triangle, midpoints of all sides, and join them.
हाँ वही हमको लगा जिंदगी भेजेंगे आपको वो उनको जो है खोल के दिखा दीजिए पता रहेगा वो देख के पता चल जाएगा इसमें ओपन कर दीजिए
After having taken the midpoints and after having made this, you must have gotten a triangle. And then it should be dividing it into 4 equal triangles. So the perfect template that you should have. Right? Till here it's done. Now let's try and understand how the flaps will be. So if this is the base, then I would want all of these triangles to connect to each other. So basically I need a flap here, I need a flap here, and I need a flap here. So alternatively on any side, select one side where you're going to give the flap, leave one side, then select another side, then leave one side, then select another side, leave one side. In total, 3 flaps should be there, one here or here, then leave another, and then you should have a total of 3. Make sure to make notches in your flaps, otherwise it won't connect.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
but isn't this process like very time taking? Like we don't have this much time for making these flaps and drawing it all and cutting it and pasting it.
It's gonna get faster if you practice it. Right now, we're just trying to understand the logic of it. That's why it's taking so long.
Yeah, ma'am, I got that. But like, is there any faster process to do it?
Yeah, you can combine templates to make one big form. If you understand basic templates though, then only you will be able to make big forms. So what you can do is like this, you understood tetrahedron how to make, and you understood how to make a cuboid or a cube. So now what you can make is a shape like this. If you want to make a shape like this, like a pillar, This also you can make a template for, but for that you need to understand how a pyramids template is made. Right?
Yeah.
So when you understand both of these, then there is one way to make the template for just this entire thing instead of making these two shapes separately. And that is exactly what we use when we are making other products like these or this. So when you're looking at this is like combined forms, not just one template, and then you're making like separate. Instead of making separate ones, you make sections of templates and then you start making them.
Okay.
Okay. Let me just show you one template.
That's just another concept. मेरे बच्चे से सबसे
Should have this now?
आप पर्सनल अपना दी थे अगर ये नंदनी का एडमिशन है कुछ ना अगर तो मैंने अपना पर्सनल नंबर दिया होगा हाँ भेज दिया कब का भाई बताया नहीं
Done, Rajnandini?
पूछना ही जरूरी है
Yeah. Okay. Excuse me. Thank you. It keeps falling. Yeah, this is that kind of shape. So I'll teach you another shape using this shape only. So look at this shape that you've made. Now, if I divide this shape on the midpoint of these triangles, so each triangle's midpoint, imagine, I'm going to divide them over here. So make a segment dividing them on the midpoint or any equal point. So maybe take measurement 1 centimeter from here, 1 centimeter from here, and 1 centimeter from here. And then, yeah, fine, Ishan. Looks nice. So now when you have this particular shape wherein you have 3 lines coming in, let me just stop sharing and show it bigger. So when you're looking at this, and just 5 minutes, Mukesh. 2 minutes then. When you take this shape and you cut out 2 sides from this and you leave one side, so what will happen is I'll be able to get this particular shape. If you look at this shape, what is this? This is just this shape, but from top it has been cut out and pasted inwards. It's not pasted too neatly, but if you see, this is the top area that you're coupling with. So to make this shape, all you need to do is from this template that you just made, you have to take equal parts of, so mark equal part segments, and any two, just cut those 2 parts out. So you should have this, after having cut this into this, now this area, what you want is, you want the flap here and you want to be able to fold it in. So all you're going to do is make it into a flap. Like this. And onto this line, just give a clean fold. So like this, you should be able to fold it now. Now, when you're making this particular shape as the base, so when you paste it inwards like this, like this is how this will close. You see, from all sides. Right now I've not pasted it, but if you can see, this is that particular shape coming in. And the moment I put this flap inwards and I paste it in, then I should be able to cover the top area also of the truncated tetrahedron. So when you'll paste it, you'll be able to get a perfect truncated tetrahedron. So this kind of a shape could be used for bases and all of that, for trophies and memoirs, all of those things you can use this for. So these are the starting 3 basic shapes that I wanted to discuss with you. You can practice some cuboids and some truncated tetrahedrons, and then you can work with more shapes in the next few sessions. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. Have a nice day, everyone.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.